This week, on A View from the Top, you'll hear from Joe Ferrari, our township treasurer, Jack Curtis, the township supervisor, CJ Carnacchio, manager of communication and grants, and Curtis Wright, our township clerk, with a lot of information about the upcoming election. We think you'll really enjoy it.
Think buying fake products is harmless? Think again. Think fake cosmetics are tested and safe? Think again. Think that medicine you can buy off social media is high quality? Think again. Counterfeits are made in unsafe conditions, potentially using hazardous and even lethal ingredients that could harm you and others. Each year, billions of dollars worth of counterfeit products are sold in the U.S. I smell big crime. Think about it. If you don't know where the products came from, how could you know where the money goes? You're smart. Buy smart. Go for real.
Okay, I'm sitting here with Joe Ferrari. Joe, thank you for a moment or five with you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So from the top in the Treasury's Department of Oxford Township.
Yes, sir.
What's going on? What's new? What do people out there need to know about what's happening in your office and things that might affect them?
The main thing we've been doing lately, Chuck, is more innovation in terms of payment methods, ways to basically interact with us.
All right.
We're still in the office 8 to 5 to handle people's business,
Right.
but we also have a lot more online options. We have payments that you can make online. You can inquiry any of our records through bsaonline.com, all free of charge.
What is bsaonline.com?
It's an online service that has all municipal taxes and pretty much through all communities in the state of Michigan available.
Really?
Some communities charge a per hit fee. We don't. That stuff's all free for anybody that wants to use it.
Go Oxford.
Yep.
Yep.
And, so that helps out, anybody that needs to have that information. And also, too, we have, you can pay your bills by credit card. Even though those are a convenience fee, it's still a convenience. You can do it by e-check, which I think that's like $1.50. And then if you don't want to do that for taxes, you can always pay them at Oxford Bank or pay them here.
So if somebody, lots of options instead of having to walk in during the day with a check here, lots of options that you've made a list of. How do people want to know more about that? How do we find out more about that?
The Parks and Rec has a newsletter that they send out.
Okay.
It's always stated in the newsletter, different options that you have. On the back of your tax bill also has an option there. If you look at the upper third, it has how you can pay things online if you'd like to.
So pay attention, huh?
Exactly. It works out really well. Just we as government have to find innovative ways to serve our community. A lot of folks, due to their schedules, whether it's work schedule, childcare, they don't have time to come in from 8 to 5.
Yep.
It just doesn't work for them. We have to provide them other options to be able to make payments.
Do these other options make it more complicated for you and your team to do their work? I mean, it sounds like that's more stuff to keep track of in-house here.
It is more stuff, don't get me wrong, but our team, myself, Tracy and Sarah, are doing a good job of streamlining.
Excellent.
As we're starting to get more processes in place, figuring out how we want to handle it internally. There's always growing pains, but we're learning to grow with it.
Sure.
And trying to learn to get ahead of it. It's worked out really well.
Excellent. Good to hear. If you're looking ahead at 25, which we are starting to do now, is there anything coming in that next year that the community ought to know about as far as the part of our business operations that you're responsible for, 2025? You see any challenges or any possibly good things that are happening that involve the nickels and dimes of our world?
Well, the main thing, at least some good things, even though the interest rates have kind of gone down.
Yep.
Our interest rates still remain pretty stable, above the ones and twos that we had for many years. So now we're still 4s and 5s.
Yep.
So hopefully we'll still be able to ride that curve for a while to allow for more investment interest. When in turn that helps your budget.
Sure.
And allows you to be able to either spend money on different items, basically save for a rainy day. You never want to be in a spot where you're down to your last penny type thing. So that really helps. And basically with us, we always want to make sure things are continually running and running smooth. And we always look for ways to improve our processes.
Got it.
If there's things that we can do it a better way, we look at it and really put some study into it and try to get a better way to do it.
Excellent. Well, we as the taxpayers and citizens appreciate the fact that you folks are trying to find a way to do a job that's better and more efficient at the same time.
That's always our goal, is to always improve.
Excellent.
You know, I've been doing this for a long time, but I learn something new every day.
Excellent.
Once you start learning, that's when you're not growing. You stop learning.
Connect with other treasurers, and we have a lot of local communities here. Is there a association or an agglomeration of treasurers and stuff that you folks get together with from time to time and share best practices?
Oakland County has a group.
Okay.
The state of Michigan also has a group too.
Right.
The state of Michigan one for many years, probably in the 2010s on. I used to be on the board, the Michigan Municipal Treasurers Association.
Got it.
You know, I was their president, vice president, worked all through the ranks. And that's a good way to get involved with your different communities and ways how other people are doing it. And to me, I've always told people, when you're new to the job, you don't have to know everything.
Yes.
You have to know where to get it.
Yep.
And that's a lot of it.
Always true.
It's connections.
Yeah.
You may not know X, and you're not going to know everything. But you need to be able to contact somebody to say, okay, I'm struggling with this. Can you help me?
You have to have the answer. You don't have to know the answer.
Exactly.
Excellent. All
And
right.
that's why a lot of it being involved in those organizations really helps.
Excellent. All right. Well, we appreciate you giving us more time than I thought I'd ask for. We appreciate all the work you and your team do to keep us solvent.
Thank you.
I'm with you. I like the fact that the government that interest rates are cranking up, because that means our savings, which have been sort of sludge-wise, may make a little more money, and I may be able to live until I die now.
That's a good thing.
Yes, sir. All right. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Always good.
Same here.
For Joe, this is Chuck. Stay tuned. We'll talk to you next week. So, standing here in the township offices, talking to Curtis. Thank you very much, sir, for meeting with us. It's a joy to see you again.
Pleasure to be able to do this.
5 minutes from the top. So we're looking at what's going on in your office, in the clerk's office, and obviously elections are coming up, and it's a giant thing. Tell us what you can about all the challenges and the things that you and the team have to do to prepare for this election coming up.
Yeah, what we've done is with proposal 22-2,
Yep.
that's created a lot of changes in our office and statewide for that matter. And one of those is the early voting.
Yep.
Now that's a benefit for the voters outside there, because it gives them another option to be able to vote, and they don't have to go to the polls. But that's a 9-day setup, and so it starts on October 26th
I bet.
through November 3rd, which is the second Saturday before the election and the Sunday preceding the election. And the place for the early voting is down at the Orion Township Complex. And we've partnered through Oakland County with Addison, Orion, and Oxford. So if people want to vote early, they can go down there, cast their ballot, and they can do it in person and know that it counts.
Got it.
You know, so that's some of the challenges too, that we've had a lot of third-party organizations sending out paraphernalia and that type of stuff, and you know, it's duplication of some of the stuff we're already doing for the voters. So that's created some challenges, and just the changes of we have to wait for overseas ballots to come back to be counted now based on postmark, or if somebody's got a problem with their signature on an absentee ballot, we have to wait to get that cured. So it starts the process out a lot more, and it's just changes that we have to adapt to, because it's been put in the state constitution.
Yeah, if it's a law, you don't have much wiggle room. You have to do it, and you have to adjust to make it happen.
Yeah, and we will, and we have. You know, I've got a great staff. My deputy Susan McCullough and Kelly Richter have done a fantastic job.
Excellent.
You know, and you know, with the crew that we have in the township, you know, it's amazing how much we do get accomplished with the staff that we have.
In our township, what would you estimate would be the percentage of people who actually will vote in this election? I know you can't know, but
No,
what do you figure?
But in past elections, the target, of course, is 100%.
Yes, sir.
We're never going to get that, but you know, based upon 2020, it was like a record turnout. But if we get over 70%, I think that's a pretty solid turnout for an election. And this will be the highest you'll get. It's a presidential year election. So if that number's hit, then you know, is it what we want? No, but it's what you accept, and it's the will of the people that want to get out and vote. And to that, you know, there's no reason not to get out and vote.
Yep.
Early voting, absent voter ballot, in-person voting. So, I mean, there's really
lots of options.
Excuses.
Yep. The people who feel strongly about things need to put that feeling into action.
They do.
And vote.
They do. You know, that's your constitutional right to be able to get out and vote. And you know, as I say, if you didn't vote, don't complain.
Exactly.
You know?
I'm with you on that. I noticed it looks like a ballot box out there in the front. Is that a box for voters to can put their vote in?
Yes, that's for absent voter ballots and applications.
Excellent.
You know, and we're also mandated by the state that if you have over 15,000 registered voters, then you have to have a second ballot box. So we do have one at the Village of Oxford offices. So people are welcome to put that ballot in there. We're required by law to check those on a daily basis.
Right.
So we pick those ballots up, bring those in, check those in, secure them until election day so they're counted by the Absent Voter County Board.
How many registered voters are in Oxford Township?
We have over 18,000. It changes on a daily basis.
I'm sure.
As people come in, people move. So, but right now, the last count for the primary is 18,028. So we have a pretty good contingent of registered voters. That includes the village too.
Okay, good.
So our voting population, or I should say our population is over 22,000.
Good. Then you make me think of one question that I don't want to step in the mud here, but people talk about voter rolls, and there are all kinds of anxious people about the voter rolls not being up to speed and stuff like that. How do we, I should say, keep the voter rolls accurate so that the number of people that vote equals the number of people who are qualified to vote? How do you do that?
Well, what happens is with that is that's a system called the Qualified Voter File.
Okay.
And that is conducted and administered by the state of Michigan.
Ah, good.
So they are the source of that information basically. Just that we funnel the information we get to that system, and the system records that on a second by second basis. I guess it's pretty much up to speed. It's been totally revamped, updated on a regular basis. So that way there's nobody voting twice or somebody's deceased parent or father or child that's getting a ballot.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounds like I'm hearing from you that it's really, 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 really unlikely that anybody could vote that either isn't qualified or is dead. Maybe that few dead people vote. It sounds like you're saying that the system is pretty solid, and the folks who vote are the ones who are qualified to vote. Is that right?
Pretty much. And for our office, we run a tight run ship.
I'm sure.
For as trying to have transparency in the election process, because if we see a signature that doesn't look right, we're gonna communicate out to that individual that your signature looks like it was signed by your spouse. Mm-hmm. So we are very strict on making sure that this process is totally transparent, because we want to be the person showing how things should be ran on a basis of conducting elections. Try to take that concern level or so-called "what are you trying to hide" attitude out of the picture.
Take it out.
Because with today's voting society, there's a lot of skepticism out there.
Yeah.
And to me, some of that stemmed from basically your bigger jurisdictions that this caused the issue, because you have so much paperwork and so many ballots to deal with, and so many qualified people to actually be participants in the election process.
Yep. Well, we appreciate the fact that it sounds like you run a pretty tight ship. You said.
Yeah. That's our goal, and that's our mission.
Good.
That's what the voters put me in there for, and the people that I'm in charge of are the ones that are trying to make things work just as well.
Get her done right.
Yeah.
All right. Any comments to the folks before we get out of your way, sir?
I just say an election thing: get out and vote, make it count, and you'll know the results on November 6th.
Excellent. You heard it first. Thank you, Curtis.
Okay.
It's a joy to see you. Thanks. Stay tuned. Okay, Chuck Cameron sitting here in the township office with Jack Curtis. Jack, thank you so much for taking a few minutes of your time. I really appreciate seeing you again.
Oh, you're welcome, Chuck. The new office, or new township office boardroom, if you will, we just painted it. Yep. You can see the new TVs up. It's easier to see from the audience, a little more modern, millie, if you will. We had 3 different brands of stuff before. Half of it didn't work. Now when you come to attend a meeting, everything is in your face and all easy accessible.
It looks very professional and nice and fresh, too.
It is. And we're not quite done yet. We don't have our stuff up on the walls.
So when the walls are finished, it's going to look professional and warming and welcoming.
Yes, it will.
All right, good.
Yes, it will.
All right. So we come in here. This is 5 minutes from the top. And my question to you is simply, what message do you want to get out to the folks this month? What's new? You got 50 things on your plate in the township. What are the big things that you'd like to talk about this month that the folks ought to know about?
Well, Chuck, government works so slow.
Yes, sir.
And currently, right now, we are addressing situations from years ago. One of the things that I talk about frequently is the offset in the taxation. Right now, our assessed values in the township itself, 80% of all the taxes are paid by residents. Okay. 20% are paid by commercial businesses and industry. The lack of industry is due to the lack of infrastructure. As you may be aware, everybody's seen the construction along in front of Meyer and up north of Ray Road a little bit. Right. We are installing sanitary sewers. It's complete now. They should be backfilling, cleaning up, and putting the topsoil back down. We should be done with that. What we're trying to do is open up some of the industrial properties so that people will come here and bring their industry with them. This is not smokestack industry anymore. This is industry that people work in daily, drive down 24 and clog it up to go to Troy, Auburn Hills, to go to work. If we could get some of that industry out here and we could burden them with some of our taxation problems, we could eliminate some problems on the road. So those are the things we're working towards the future.
In that situation, then, am I right to assume that the sanitary sewers stopped someplace just north of town but south of Meyer?
Just south of Meyer, just north of the village limits. That's where it was ended. We currently share some sewage with the village, and we're going to be eliminating that pipe, and it'll all be in our pipe after that.
So what other benefits other than the possibility of commercial businesses setting up along 24 further north, what other benefits might there be to that sewer system?
That's a great question, because one of the things is environmental protection.
How so?
Oxford Township is the headwaters to many rivers. Okay. The Flint River, the Paint Creek, the Clinton River. It's a lot of water comes from here and goes north and goes south. We have some older subdivisions that have septics that were put in 1920. Sure. And in order to stop that leaching into the groundwater, we're trying to get them on the sewer system. But before everybody gets all nerved up, our grants and communications manager will have some great news for us. We're working with the federal, state, and local governments to get most of that paid for.
So instead of the property owners going, oh my goodness, I'm going to have thousands and thousands of dollars to hook up, there might be money that could offset some of the cost of doing that?
It'll offset a lot of the cost. The resident will still bear some of the burden, but naturally that's what we all do when we hook up or start utilizing municipal services.
So that's a big project. How did you decide, decide that would be a priority, and how long has that been in the works?
Well, it's funny you asked that, because about 12 years ago when I was on the Planning Commission, our treasurer requested, hey, when can we get sewer there? Wow. So we have been talking about it for 12 years. We've been working hard on it for 6 years. We worked with all the property owners to pay for it. And so it's an SAD, a special assessment district, that the property owners that the sewer now will service are paying for it. And those are businesses, not residents. So once we get that sewer in, now we're working on the grants, government monies to pay for the majority of the residential connections.
I think you just proved the point you made at the beginning. It takes government a long time to get things done.
We were awarded some money about 2 years ago. We haven't seen it yet. It reminds me of another project we got going on.
What's that?
We have 2 roads we're going to pave. Okay. Now, everybody on a gravel road wants their road paved, And everybody on a paved road in subdivisions don't want the cut-through traffic. It's cut-through. Those are public roads, and we can't stop the cut-through. Right. The real problem is we don't have enough improved roads for the growth of the community. Mm-hmm. So we've been hammering the RCOC, Road Commission of Oakland County, the state of Michigan, and the federal government to allocate some federal aid committee monies to pave some roads. So by 2027, now, mind you, that's almost 2.5 years away. Yes, we've been working on that project for 4 years. So in 2027, Dunlap will be finished paved. Dunlap Road that runs right here, it'll go from M24 to Seymour Lake Road. What that'll do is take the burden off of some of the traffic going through downtown, because most of those people either live here, work north, or are trying to get south to work.
Right. So a little less traffic downtown, and for the folks on Dunlop, a little easier run, especially in the spring with all that lovely mud.
Oh, the lovely mud is great. We have no north-south paved roads other than M24 and Baldwin. So these roads are allocated funds from the federal government, but they're 4 and 5 years out on projects. Recently, we were awarded the monies to pave Sanders Road.
Okay.
That's a north-south connection between Drainer Road and Seymour Lake. That should take a lot of this, what people call on their public roads, cut-through traffic. People that don't live on that street, the people that live there believe it's to be cut through. No, it's a public road. But yes, we hear you talk about the people driving through there. So we have been fighting for north-south paved roads to access Oxford on.
So this is the funding for this primarily county or state, or you mentioned some federal. Where do the nickels and dimes most likely come from?
Most of it comes from the federal government through the Road Commission of Oakland County. Now, there is a cost involved of that. 80% of the funding is paid for by the federal government. Okay. The Road Commission of Oakland County will pay for 10% of it, and then Oxford Township pays for 10% of certain things, engineering costs, easement acquisitions, things like that.
Okay, so there is a process. It's just, as you've said now several times, it takes a bunch of time.
Exactly. Now, to save money on acquisition cost of easements, we're currently working with the levy company who owns this property on Dunlap. They own to the center of the road. So the Road Commission has to have a 60-foot easement on each side. So now they can't put a road on unless they have a highway easement. So we're working to acquire that easement acquisition right now.
Got it. All right. It's lots of strings to get pulled to get all these things done.
Yes, it is. A lot of strings, and a lot of times patience I don't have. So if I'm short, curt, and to the point, it's because I'm driven that way by government.
Got it. Well, we certainly appreciate all the work that the township leaders do to keep things running smoothly for us. Any other messages before we get out of your way so you can get back to working for us?
No, I could go on and on for days. We all work. This week I've worked from 4 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night. We have village council meetings I attend, so I understand that. I have a wife that travels, so I can't sleep. I come in here and do work. So you know what? We all work hard to get things done, but we fight each other through. We have to collaborate and follow processes and procedures.
Well, good leadership is never unified in everything, but good leadership makes finally decisions that move things forward.
A unified decision is what you have to move things forward.
Exactly. I want to thank you. You heard it first. Insomnia is your friend because we get the boss working for us in the middle of the night. Jack, thank you for your time. We certainly appreciate the work you do.
Oh, you're welcome, Chuck. Thank you.
Well, I'm sitting here with CJ Carnacchio. CJ, thanks for coming to the office. We appreciate that.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me.
You've been here a time or two before, I suspect.
Yes. Many times over the years.
So we'd love to talk to you about two things. You have a role, as I've read, about communications and about grants for the township. Can you talk a little bit about what you're involved in on the communication side and what the grant world is all about? And then maybe we'll dig a little deeper. But can you start us up at a high level?
Okay. Well, on the communication side, one of the main functions of my job is I run the township's Facebook page. And I use that page to inform the community, of course, but also to shed a positive light on Oxford. I try to highlight all the good things in the community. I mean, prior to me joining, the Facebook page was just about, taxes, dog licenses, meeting agendas. And we still have that basic government information on there. but I, expanded it to basically start covering the community, showing all the positive things, the natural beauty of the community, the organizations, the businesses, everything positive that goes on. And people responded to that because when I started in November of 2019, the Facebook page had 710 followers, and today we have close to 14,000. So in 5 years, it's been extraordinary. But people respond to good content. And then also having the content that I do, it draws people when we do put up meeting agendas, when we do give tax information, they're more likely to see it now because we have a bigger followership for the page. So
The likelihood of people knowing what's going on increases because they're already at least familiar with where should I go to get information.
Exactly. And people have been very responsive. I spent, prior to joining the township, I was at the Oxford Leader for 20 years, a couple of years as a reporter, and most of the time, about 17 years as the editor. So I just brought the same journalistic skills I used at the Leader of covering events, taking photos, talking to people, and just translated that into from traditional media to social media, and people, they like it. And I think our Facebook page really shows the township in a very positive light and shows all the good that there is in the community.
There's a lot of good here. Can we talk about grants? That's a different world, a world that I'm becoming involved in. So I'll probably pick your brain off camera about grants. But how do you approach getting grants for the township? And do you have sort of priorities that you've achieved so far?
Well, basically, I start with identifying what are the needs in the township, whether it's something that I see as needed or it's something that the fire department, Parks and Rec, the township supervisor comes to me and says there's a need. So I start out there. And then once I do that, then I do my research and find out, are there grants available at the government level, whether it's county, federal, or state? Are there grants through private foundations that would meet this need? And once you identify that, then you look things over, you start to research the need, and you write the grant application, and you hope all goes well. I mean, it's a lot of time. I mean, that's a quick summary of it, but there's a lot of research that goes into it. There's a lot of writing and rewriting. I mean, I never just whip out a grant application. I'm happy with what it is. I write and rewrite things several times until I get it just right. So I think the biggest things with grant writing is meticulous, telling a good story and meticulous attention to detail and solid research, and that's what makes for a successful grant application.
For those who don't have any foot in that world, if a grant, you've said you applied it, maybe apply to several different places to get grant money. Is that grant money forthcoming quickly, or do sometimes you have to wait a long time? Something about the process.
Well, usually once you apply, there's a few months to wait. I mean, some can be quick. Some you can know by the end of the month when it's due. Other times it might be 3, 4, 5, 6 months before you know. So there is a waiting period involved.
Are you getting better?
And getting better at
Grants.
Well, I would think so. I've got a pretty good success rate in that. You don't get everyone you apply for, but if you don't apply, you never know. So, but I mean, generally, I'd say most of the things I've gone after, I've gotten. Sometimes you might not get a grant for, like with the Helen Smith Park. I had applied for a grant through T-Mobile to help fund that. We didn't get that, but I applied to 4 County Community Foundation. We did get that grant. When we got a radar speed trailer for the Oakland County Sheriff's Substation here in Oxford, I applied to AAA 3 times before we got the grant in order to get that. So a lot of times it's tenacity too. Just because you don't get a grant once doesn't mean you should give up on either the idea or applying to that foundation. Sometimes it's about how much they have to give away, how many other applicants there are, and where you are versus other people's needs. But you shouldn't, you feel low when you don't get a grant, but you also don't give up. You keep going until you get what you need for the community.
Just like life.
Pretty much.
I want to thank you for coming in. I thank you for the work you do for the community. It's clear that you care a lot about what's going on around here and the folks and the people, and the fact that you spend time and effort doing the work. So we appreciate you. It's funny to see you without a camera in front of your face. That's why I always see you. But thanks for coming in. We appreciate that.
Oh, no problem. Glad to be here.
We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you.
Chuck Cameron, CJ, and CJ. Stay tuned. So long. We hope you enjoyed this week's A View from the Top. Be sure to join us next time when you'll hear from Matt Majestic, our Township Fire Chief, and Tim Landon, Head of Building Department in the Township. Maybe more too. Join us then on The View from the Top.